Hey friends, welcome. Imagine waking up to a new day, but instead of feeling refreshed, you feel an overwhelming weight pressing down on your chest. You've barely slept, your mind racing with worries, anxieties, and a constant fear of the unknown. The world outside your window is noisy, chaotic, and fast moving. But inside, you feel like you're drowning in an ocean of stress, anxiety, and the darkness of depression. It's a gray morning, the kind that feels heavier than most. You find yourself standing at your window, staring out at the city below, the sounds of the traffic and hurried footsteps echoing up from the streets. Your heart is tight, your thoughts scattered, and the sense of hopelessness is creeping in. You long for peace, for quiet, for relief from this constant battle in your mind, but it seems impossible to find. As you stand there, feeling isolated in the midst of it all, you hear a soft voice, gentle but steady, calling your name. It's familiar, like something you've heard in your heart before. You turn and see him, Jesus. He's not distant or aloof. He's standing right here, close enough to touch. And he looks at you with the most tender eyes you've ever seen. Eyes filled with understanding, compassion, and grace. There's no judgment, no condemnation in his gaze, only love. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest, he says, his voice calm, inviting, and filled with the peace that contrasts to the storm swirling inside you. You hesitate for a moment, unsure of how someone could offer rest when everything feels so out of control. But something in his presence draws you closer, a gentle pull that feels like a lifeline. You step forward, and he doesn't say anything more at first. He just stands there with you, in silence, offering the space for your heart to catch up with the calmness he's brought. After a moment, he speaks again, not with the force of a command, but with the gentle assurance of someone who truly understands. I see you, he says, his words soaking deep into your soul. I know your pain, your fears, and your struggles. You don't have to hide from me. You don't have to carry this alone. In that moment, something inside you begins to unravel. You've been holding on so tightly to the weight of your pain, convinced that you needed to control everything, fix everything, all on your own. But as Jesus stands beside you, there's a deep, almost instinctive sense of surrender. The pressure to be perfect, the expectation to have everything together starts to fade. You realize that it's okay to not be okay right now. It's okay to not have all the answers. As you walk with him through the day, there's no rush, no judgment. Jesus doesn't try to fix everything in an instant. He knows that true healing takes time, that the road to peace is a journey, not a quick destination. He meets you right where you are, in the messiness of your life, and offers not quick solutions, but comfort, understanding, and His unwavering presence. You find yourself sitting on a park bench, the bustling city around you seeming to fade into the background. You share your fears with Him, the weight of your responsibilities, the constant pressure to succeed, the fear of letting people down, the loneliness that feels like it's swallowing you whole. You talk about the sleepless nights, the panic attacks that come out of nowhere, and the cloud of sadness that hangs over you like a thick fog. Jesus listens, never interrupting, never rushing you to finish. His eyes are fixed to yours with such tender attention that you feel as though, for the first time in a long time, someone truly understands the depth of your pain. After you've poured out your heart, He looks at you with compassion so deep, so pure, that it takes your breath away. My child, He says, you don't have to carry this weight alone. I never asked you to do it all by yourself. Let me help you. Surrender your burdens to me, and I will give you rest. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are human, and I am here with you. He leads you to a quiet place, a beautiful garden filled with the sounds of birds chirping and the gentle rustling of leaves. The stillness of the moment contrasts sharply with the noise of your thoughts. But here, with Jesus beside you, the peace begins to seep in. He teaches you to breathe deeply, slowly. Inhale peace, exhale worry. He guides, His voice steady and soothing. You follow. His rhythm, your chest, rising and falling with each deep breath, and with each breath, you begin to feel lighter, more grounded, more present. Do not worry about tomorrow, He continues, His voice soft but firm. For tomorrow will worry about itself. Today has enough trouble of its own. Trust in me, and I will help you carry this day. You close your eyes for a moment, the weight on your heart easing just a little, and in the stillness, you hear Him remind you, you are loved. You are worthy of peace. You are not defined by your struggles. You are not defined by your fears. You are defined by my love for you. Jesus doesn't promise that your struggles will disappear overnight. He doesn't tell you that you won't have difficult days or moments of anxiety, but He does promise that He will walk with you through it all. His presence is constant, unshakable, steady, always there. As the day comes to a close, you find yourself back in your room, the weight of the world still present, but not as heavy. You sit in quiet prayer, your heart calm in a way it hasn't been for years. Jesus' words resonate in your soul. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. And in that moment, you know you are not alone. You don't have to carry this burden by yourself. Jesus is right here, walking beside you, offering healing for your mind, your heart, and your soul. You lie down to sleep that night, your heart lighter, your mind quieter. The worries haven't disappeared, but the fear is gone. The heaviness of stress, anxiety, and depression has been replaced by the peace that only He can give. As you close your eyes, you know that tomorrow He will be there, offering the same peace, the same healing, the same love. With Jesus, you are never alone, and with Him, you are always healing. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.